Good morning, everybody. Good morning if you're here with me live. Good morning if you listen to this later. And good evening if you're an evening gal. You're here on Mornings with Megs. I'm super excited to talk today. And I have some unbelievable news, you guys. My little studio has been fixed so that I can have guests on so you don't have to listen to me the whole time. Now, how exciting! I'm excited. Okay. So I put a call out like last week, asking for a bunch of different guests to come on. And I'm like, when I tell you I'm excited to have these people on, like let me give you a teaser. Okay. I have an OnlyFans creator coming on. I have the head of Jim's group. I can't say Jim's mine because it's Jim's group coming on, right? As if we can't learn something from him. I have dating coaches. I just have unbelievable people coming on, and I'm just so excited that finally. And do you know what? I'm going to take full credit because the program people, as much as they tried to like diagnose my issues, like not. So it took me, my hyper focus, my random nothingness, and some call outs to the universe. Okay. Truly, like now finally we're here. We can finally, we can finally get guests on, and I'm so excited. Okay. I see people jumping in live with me. If you don't know and you watch the replay of this one, and you're like, how does she, like, who is she talking to? You're able to join me live. Will be a link in my socials to be able to do so, and I would love to have you live chatting with me. And the best part about this is now that I can have guests on, you guys can ask questions live. It's everything that I wanted this to be. But there was obviously a lesson in me having to learn how to have conversations with myself for a whole ass hour. And be entertaining enough to keep people engaged and on board. So thankfully the metrics aren't too bad and people don't find me too basic just just as yet. Okay. We got some topics this morning. Okay. Let's talk about it. Now I was watching the replay of this as well yesterday, and I was like looking down at my iPad for like my notes, and I didn't like it because all of my little like snippets were of like the top of my head. So that wasn't the vibe. So now we're going to change positions so that I can actually like look back up when I'm talking about these topics. All right. Mindfulness for ADHD. Okay, big shocker. She's talking about mindfulness and ADHD. But let me tell you right now, like I read this yesterday and I was just like, okay, game changer. Because I don't want to be, I need to be a little bit mindful about what I say about this. I'm choosing not to take medication for ADHD purely because, and I've spoken to different people about this, and I literally spoke to somebody on the weekend about this. He was talking to me about his ADHD, and he said he takes his meds and like it's absolutely changed his life. So I'm gonna never say never, and probably it wouldn't be a like terrible idea, but I think because I've been dealing with like all of the health issues I've been dealing with, like ADHD medication's been like the last one on the list. So I am sorry if you heard that crash. My cat's protesting about something. So he's knocked something off of somewhere. So we'll get to see what that is after. God, he's the worst cat. If you have a tuxedo cat, they're just the worst. Or I don't know if it's just my cat, Milan, he's just the worst. Like he's just such an a-hole. Anyway, so mindfulness for ADHD. So if I can naturally kind of like work with my brain in the best way possible, then I'm going to do that because, for somebody who like I should rattle the amount of medication I've been on for endometriosis and Crohn's. Okay. Now, gratitude hack as well. So once a week beats daily. Okay. So if you're like, I don't have time to do like a 7-year morning every morning and whatever, I've got you. Okay. You do have time once a week. Now, big money bets on creators. I'm going to actually tell you how to create money in this economy by being a user generated content creator. Nearly forgot what it was. Yeah. So I'm like I have dabbled in this area. and I have made okay money. Like, and when I say dabbled, I've not like put a lot into this as yet. But I definitely will be, because who doesn't want a little side hustle that brings in $1,000 a week? I know I do. And also we're talking about the dating recession and solo maxing. Okay. Oh God, when I get this dating coach on, I literally am going to ask all of the questions. I'm so excited. And then the last thing we're going to be talking about today is influencer culture is rewriting success. Okay. So I'm excited to talk about this too, because I have massive thoughts on the way in which we utilize influencers. And let me give you, like, I'm in a pretty good position to be able to have this opinion. And it's purely because I am surrounded on a race weekend by famous people. Okay. Quote unquote famous people. Not even quote unquote. Like, so yesterday I put up my um, interview with Greg Rust. If you don't know who Greg Rust is, he is a very well known supercars commentator, and not just supercars, actually, just cars in general. He does the GT4 stuff, and he is just the biggest legend in the whole wide world. And I literally ambushed him on the dummy grid, and I was like, Rusty, can I please ask you a quick question? He's like, I've got 2 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? I just need 10 seconds. And I asked him like what a piece of advice he'd given himself 10 years ago, and straight on professional, like all the things. Okay. So I put up that piece of content yesterday, and he said, "Oh, collab tag me. I want to share it." And I was like, "God, you're such a legend." And so he shared it on his, and so it's had like, I haven't checked it this morning, but yeah, like a huge amount of views. Obviously, he's got a bigger audience than I do. And it just made me think how like one small thing like that can help somebody like me get my message out there and get my show out there, just literally by accepting, or like not even accepting, because he requested me to add him as a collaborator. So I was like, this is just like really, really cool. So I'm going to be talking about the difference between influencers, user generated content, and I'm going to tell you how you can make money in this economy doing this stuff, because it's not just big creators anymore. And I'm thrilled beyond belief that this is what it is. Okay. So first of all, so I had like 3 songs ready and prepped for yesterday, and because I was like waffling on, because I was like I was vibing it yesterday. I don't know if you guys noticed. I was vibing. And not because I was trying to overcompensate for Monday, just because I was feeling the topics. So we're talking topical things, obviously, currently, but then we're talking things that I'm so passionate about. And I think you can kind of see the difference in my vibe and the whole sitch when I feel a certain way about these topics that I'm talking about. So we love that for me. Okay. So first thing we're talking about this morning is, well, where was my first start? Okay. We are talking about mindfulness getting taken seriously for ADHD. Now, I have been told I have to preface this by saying I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm going to tell you what people are saying, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. Do with that information what you will. Okay. Don't take medical advice from a blonde girl on a podcast or a radio show. I gotta stop calling it a podcast. Radio show. Okay, I got told off for that yesterday too. So, radio show. Okay, we're legit. Okay, I can see the team typing here. Yes, I said radio show. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I said, not a doctor. It is not medical advice, but research on mindfulness and ADHD, right, I find is getting super interesting. And let me tell you why. Okay, so mindfulness practices have been found to help reduce symptoms of ADHD. One of the threads running through 2026's mindfulness research roundups. Okay, so the new 2026 studies in the field span everything from stress and cognitive function to internet delivered mindfulness based cognitive therapy in randomized trials. Okay, let me give you the research and then I'm going to talk about it. Okay. So, a 2026 study found that people rate the same meditation exercise higher when they believe a human wrote it rather than AI. Right? We trust the human touch even when the words are identical. And the honest caveat from the research itself, it's a supplement, not a swap. Okay. Heavy meditation app users still report high loneliness because an app can't replace real community. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm like, it's all coming. It's like, ugh, okay. I love the reframe. I love the fact that we can actually, do you know what? Before I even get to that, let me go further back because I've actually done so much research on this purely because I was like, this is just wild. So Lewis Hamilton, he, if you don't know him, is a Formula One driver, and he drives for Ferrari. Okay, now if you're in the pop culture side of life, he is Kim Kardashian's boyfriend. Okay, so whichever you choose, whichever lens you choose to view him through. Okay, anyway, he is famously has ADHD. And he said the best thing that he does for concentration, because obviously, if you're in an F1 car, you're going pretty quick around some pretty epic corners and in a straight line. And in the way that the new cars are like, just you don't know where they're going and what the hell they're doing, you need your concentration about you. Okay. So what he does is he actually like, and I'm gonna butcher this, but like the way that I interpreted it is he like basically bores himself into concentration. So he'll stare at like one point on a wall for like, I think it was like 10 minutes or something. And he literally will, if his focus drifts, he'll continually bring it back. And he has said that that has been one of the best things that he's found to support him having more concentration and being more mindful. So it's just a continual pattern of just removing like all of the stimulus, right? Removing it all and purely just having one thing to focus on, one thing to like direct your field of vision at. And that is what I love about things like this, because again, whether you sit on the left or the right side of medication for this, and again, I suppose we have um we're more outward about it. Like when I say things like, being diagnosed with ADHD and all of these things, this used to be like, especially like when I was at school anyway, it used to be such a stigma. Like it was not like, you were like the naughty kid in class, or like that's the memory that I have of children that were diagnosed with these conditions. And obviously there's varying levels, like I completely understand that. So I'm not saying that this is again a replacement for it. But I am always, 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 always loving the hacks and the tips and the tricks and whatever, to really just like hone in on our beautiful brains, because the like like, and again, I'm speaking generally, is that people with ADHD, like we're so smart. Like the way that our brains think, like, is just wild. Okay. And we come up with some random shit that is just brilliant. And I look at like kids that I know in my family in particular, or, people that I'm close to, who I would have on pretty good authority are the sort of ADHD. Their creativity and the way that their brains work is brilliant. Like if we honed in on these skills and if we honed in on their gifts instead of like putting them into like a public school system that were like, you must be good at maths and English or you're an idiot. Okay. Side note, but yes, it's really, really important. So, and I am going to touch on one thing that my mother has just put in here because this truly, truly is actually a big thing is diet for our brains. And this is something that I have tested myself as well. And so basically, and we've got proof from people outside of me because, so one of my drivers, Ayrton Hodson, mum actually came up to one of our races, and she was our team chef for the weekend. Was the best thing in the world. So mum made me like these chia puddings, and so like with protein in them, so like super healthy, had fruit, whatever. Now gave them to the boys. The boys weren't thrilled with the taste. Okay. However, Ayrton on the weekend told me, actually his parents told me that it made his brain so clear. So instead of having, a carby breakfast before he gets into a car, now he's actually requested from his team chef that this is what he what he wants. So that's what he ate on the weekend when we were in Darwin. So it is just wild, and just goes to show that there are so many things we can trial before we kind of get to the point where we're like, okay, look, I'm just going to try medication and see how we go. So yeah, I think the studies are interesting because what I love is that we rely on other people as well, because I know that there are apps out there like Insight Timer and I mean, even on Spotify, there's like a billion different meditations now, right? So I love that we're able to reframe it like just for being calm or like just for whatever, but you can almost prescribe yourself like do this meditation for X symptom now, which I think is really, really cool. Like really, really cool. So, good morning, Jam. Hope you're well. So, excuse me. All right. So I talk pretty openly, obviously, about my brain. Yeah, like I said, I love the reframe that mindfulness for ADHD isn't about forcing your mind to like sit still and stop. And I always thought that there was something wrong with me in meetings when I literally could not. Well, actually, no, I could and I couldn't. So I got that good at multitasking my ears with my brain, right? So I would be sitting in meetings, I would not probably be absorbing any of the information, but I was listening enough to know that if I was called upon, I would have an answer to give. Okay. So some of the random shit that I would be thinking about in the middle of an executive meeting, I'm like literally, like I honestly I can't remember because it just would have been something whatever was going through my head at the time. Okay. But I was listening enough to know that if I was, referred to in the meeting or asked a question or whatever, I would be able to answer because I was listening enough to know what I had to respond with. And that's how my brain works. Okay. We are great multitaskers, us ADHDers. Um, so again, is noticing where your mind wanders to, as opposed to being like, oh, like why can't I just concentrate? Because that's what I used to be like. I used to really like beat myself up for it because, back before meditation became really cool and a mainstream thing to do, I was trying a bunch of different meditations to try and calm like my crippling anxiety. And my purely because obviously I have two inflammatory diseases, and when I get stressed, they're exacerbated. So I was doing anything to try and just like calm my beautiful mind, just to like stop any physical symptoms kind of manifesting because of it all. And it was like the early days of meditation, like you should be able to like focus for this time. And if you like, and we even like, I heard terms like wasted meditation and stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? I made a conscious effort to sit there, okay, bored out of my skull for 10 minutes because you told me it was good for my head. Okay, so if we can make ways like, and actually if we gamify it, I think that's the other thing I find for my brain. If I can gamify it, okay, and I can win, watch me do it well. So I think that's the other way that if you're a meditation teacher and you're watching or you're listening, if you can gamify meditation that still has the same kind of like effects, but it allows us to like win at something, oh, watch us do it well. So, like I said, it's practicing noticing where your attention goes and then bringing it back without, beating yourself up about it and being like, why can I just not concentrate? Because you know why. Okay, you got to spice your brain. So that is a disciplined skill dressed up as a wellness one. Okay, and it pairs perfectly with not being perfectly doing all of the things all of the time. Okay, it's literally just wellness. It's all it is you're choosing to do one thing that is good for your brain that you know is going to help you down the track. And I guess I haven't tried it on a continual basis where I've measured it. So maybe I will do that actually. And with the fact that I am going to be getting my guitar life on even yesterday, which was such a stupid idea for me. So I decided that how cool would it be? And because I love Shania Twain and because I love my parents, obviously my parents' wedding song, I was like, I wonder if I could like acoustically recreate that, learn how to sing it, and then like watch my mum ugly cry for like an hour whilst I played that. Like, how cool would that be? Anyway, she reminded me that I was to pick one thing per month to focus on, which is very, very fair and very, very wise. So it'll be interesting to see how I go in a hyper focused state versus just trying to be mindfully present with what I'm doing. And as I've just said that, I realized that I've given away the surprise and now I couldn't do it anyway. So that's ruined. But yeah, it's the thought that counts, I guess. Whatever. So, and don't expect it, Mum, because I might have to back out because it might get too hard and I might get over it. And I might want to move on to my next challenge. But the beauty of like this whole setup that I've got here is that it's actually like conducive to being able to record me singing too, which is, guys, when I tell you I'm beyond excited to have a SingStar birthday party, like, and I messaged like all of the kids in our group that we used to do it together. Everyone is so excited. It's going to be epic. Okay, we're going to cut to a song. I'm going to have a sip of my tea and I will catch you guys back here in just a moment.
Just come be the man I need. Tell me you got something to give. I want it. I kinda like it when you call me wonderful. Whatever the type of talk it is, come on it. I gotta know you're meant to be the man I need. Talk to me, be the man that I need, baby. Talk to me, be the man that I need. Talk to me, be the man that I need.
All right. What do we think of Mr. Liam's remix? He's amazing, actually. I think I like gave him a little bit. Well, no, because like his lives really annoy me because he like says on there, only join if you're sexy. And it just really, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way. He goes live so many times a week and he's an amazing DJ. So we're going to forgive him for that. All right. Make sure my chat is open. Okay. Let's talk about the gratitude hack. Now, this is literally like if you do it consistently, this is like the definition of doing things consistently versus like not, and the benefits you can get from it. Okay. So, anyone who quit their daily gratitude journal because they couldn't keep up, they made themselves feel bad because they just didn't like see it all out. Okay. It might, don't throw that journal away. Okay. We can still use it. I promise. But people are, research is actually showing something really, really interesting. So let me read you the research. Right. So gratitude is one of the most studied positive psychology practices. So there's 2 decades of research links it to lower depression, anxiety, better sleep, and improved immune function. It actually makes us healthier. There you go. The mechanism isn't magic. It nudges dopamine and serotonin, lowers amygdala reactivity, and counteracts the brain's built-in negativity bias. If you know anything about your brain, she's a negative Nelly. And the surprising bit is writing gratitude entries just once a week for 10 weeks produce bigger improvements in mood, optimism, and sleep than doing it daily. Specificity beats frequency, right? And I'm going to talk more about this in a minute. Let me just give you the goss. So doing a few minutes before bed is linked to better sleep, a free no app wellness lever. So we have glorified things like 75 hard is what I was thinking of. Okay. Whereby if you don't do and tick off the thing every single day, all right, you like fail at it. Okay. That's what we've kind of glorified as being successful at doing stuff. Okay. So this gives you permission. And again, permission is part of like, I feel like permission is literally the whole thing that makes you then realize, okay, this is fine. Like we still need external permission from people. So this is permission to stop quote unquote failing at a daily streak. Okay. So the point was never the streak. It was just the noticing. So one genuinely specific entry a week. Okay. the way my friend texted back at 11 p.m., right? You're doing it in the moment, beats 7 rushed, grateful for coffee, health, family. Like, we're just ticking boxes, okay? Quality over guilt. So, like, woo positive, brain backed, and it costs nothing. Okay. So, even just saying that, it like just feels easier, right? Like, I don't have to sit there and think of a billion things to be grateful for. Now, there is, I was actually going to sit down with it, but I don't think I did. Um, a book that changed my thought process on gratitude, and it's called The Magic. So it was by Rhonda Byrne. So she wrote The Secret, and what I loved is that every time I read it, it reminded me that I have so much more to be grateful for, and I was then able to be grateful for those things. So that was the, I guess, difference in sitting down, because I did every single day. And look, yes, it's easy to do. And I understand, like, just writing down 3 things or even just thinking 3 things. So I've kind of hacked the system a little bit for the way that my brain works. I've got post-it notes around the house. So I've got them in my bathroom. Um, and I've got one at my desk, and there's like a couple of others floating around. And it literally says, like, what are you grateful for? And then I can literally just find 1 thing or 2 things, or like sometimes I'll keep going until I my brain catches a new thought and I do something different. And which is obviously awesome because I'm doing it more frequently, but that I'm not really, I guess, sitting down and intentionally creating, that feeling in my brain. I'm just, I guess, more observing. So I'm really interested to see if and I'm not going to stop doing the daily stuff because I just find it just makes me, it really calms me down. Like, if I kind of get really overwhelmed with life and the world, and it seems to be, and obviously because I'm so emotionally charged, especially about my cats, that, and I did it before I lost Louis as well, and before I lost Prada too, actually, is being like having them all on the bed with me is just like the happiest place on earth for me. Second to having my goddaughter, like the smell of her and having, like, when she runs to me and says, screams Mimi, like the serotonin levels in me are just like, well, and the oxytocin, like, whew, like go crazy. And I've purposefully anchored in those moments to feel those types of ways because I know how the opposite feels. So and because Louis had gone missing once before, I knew how it felt not to have him there. So every time I did have him there, it was like I was like, just wanted to be, overly grateful and like, well, not over the stupidest thing I've ever said. I wanted to be super grateful for it. Okay. Because I know what it feels like not to have him there. And so I noticed that um, when we lost him, and I obviously knew that he was never coming back. Being then sitting with my other 2 cats, I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is the moment to drop into and anchor into and be grateful for. Okay, because when you know how shitful the opposite feels, it makes you really lean in to the feeling of having it, I suppose. So I think it's if you can lean into and understand how icky the opposite feels, it's really good to, it's a really easy way to like land you into the gratitude piece of actually having it. So, and it's the same with like our health, right? Our health is the easiest thing to be grateful for. And it's not until you like having a cold is a good example. So, like, your nose is blocked, you can't taste anything, you can't like inhale, you can't do anything, right? We are literally like, we are so grateful for our health in that moment. So, you can't breathe in like that, and it sucks and it's the worst and you feel like crap, okay? And I find that that is the time when people are like, never take your health for granted and whatever. And uh, I'm the worst for it as well. Like, I take my health for granted when I have a good day, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can go like a pain-free day today. Like, how good is that? But I don't actually really appreciate it as much as I probably should. So, where I'm going for what I'm talking about with this is it's quality over quantity. and also anchoring a feeling to it. So, like, why you're grateful. Um, so that's one thing that Rhonda Byrne teaches in The Magic when talking about gratitude. It is so, like, naming the things you're really grateful for, but then why. So, I mean, it's easy to be grateful, like, for a warm day, for your kids, for your parents, for your partner, for, like, it's easy to be grateful for all that sort of stuff, right? It's easy for me to say that. But when you actually, like, think of why and, like, you anchor into that feeling, like, feeling-based, like, emotions are always going to be, like, 10 times more powerful than anything else. So, you really have to lock into the feeling as well, and it's just like it just feels really, really juicy too. So if you don't have a daily gratitude practice, don't even stress about it. The research is saying you can do it once a week, but, like, really give it your all and, like, take some time. And look, I am all about romanticizing every part of my life. Okay. My life is a movie. So light a candle. It's cold here in South Australia. So wear your cute jammies, rug up with a dressing gown or however makes you feel really good, and romanticize your gratitude practice. Trust me, if you do that, it literally is an absolute game changer. Okay. That's how I do it, and purely because I just like to make a big deal about it. Okay. Because then I know, one, I'll do it because it feels really good. And two, obviously the more emotion you attach to it is just like makes it even juicier. So I really encourage you, when you do these gratitude practices, to romanticize the hell out of it and make it like a whole thing and make it about nobody else but you. Okay. Obviously, you're going to be grateful for external things. Okay. But really take the time to be grateful for some things about yourself as well. So, yeah, it's really important to bring that love inward and not just kind of like utilize external things to be happy, because we don't need external things to be happy. We have some pretty cool stuff going on in here. Okay. So I want to hear all about it. Um, Message me on Instagram or whichever platform you find me on. I would love to hear your gratitude practices because I would love to share them. Because I'm always about trying, like, finding the best gratitude hacks ever to make all my manifestations come to me that much quicker. Okay. And manifestation hack, you can be grateful for things that haven't happened yet in the future, and that will draw them to you. But that is a side note. So we're not talking about that right now. All right. I'm going to play you another tune. And it is, again, by my well, I was going to say my good friend Liam. He doesn't know who I am. He does know that I play his music though. So let's listen to one of his mixes. And then when I come back, God, I'm like mindful of time. There is like things that I really, really, really want to talk about. So when I come back, look, you know what? I want you guys to make money. Okay. I want to give you a side hustle to create wealth for yourself. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about um big money on creators. Okay, when we come back. So enjoy this little tune, grab a tea, have a sip of water, and then let's get into it, guys.
I'm walking down this road of mine, this road that I call home. So am I wrong for thinking that we could be something for real? Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? But that's just how I feel. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
He's amazing. Love him. Okay. Let's talk about big money, just bet on creators. Okay. Now, like, these numbers are just wild. Like, just wild. Okay. And if this doesn't give you hope on, or like inspo on a little side hustle you can do being user generated content creator, guys, like, come on. Okay. So $250 million just walk into the creator economy, and the smart money isn't chasing the mega stars. Okay. Now, I'm not saying death of the influencer. I'm not saying that. I'm just here about bringing everybody in some cashola. All right. So, talent giant CAA and TPG's media arm launched Compound Creative Holdings with 250 mil to back creators with patient capital, okay, and real operational infrastructure. Like we'll unpack this in a minute, okay? The creator economy has grown from circa $250 billion in 2023 to an estimated $500 billion in 2026, okay? High engagement and enough reach to matter to brands. Oh my God, I completely butchered that. Hang on. I've even got my glasses on and I'm still missing it. Okay, here we go. The 2026 sweet spot isn't the mega influencer, it's the mid-tier creators and user content generators. Okay, so top creators now run diversified business, content, products, courses, licensing, events, equity, instead of leaning on one platform. This makes me so happy, like so happy, because like this is the validation like that I literally bang on about forever. It's the era of like needing a million followers to be real. It's over. Okay. It is about trust. It is about engagement. It is about like they are the currency now. And if you know and use any product, okay, you can be a user generated content creator. Okay. I'm going to say UGC creator because it's just going to get a lot. All right. So let me walk you through what this looks like. But I just want the takeaway to be for if you're building a brand right now, do not chase that vanity number. Okay. It is dead. We don't care about that anymore. Okay. So, even in proposals that I've created for my clients in Coleman and Co., particularly on the talent side who have big followings, okay, we don't even lean into that number anymore. What we lean into is the quality of the content and the community as well, i.e., the engagement levels. So it's really easy to focus on a vanity metric. But the takeaway, I guess, for anyone building a brand is do not chase that vanity number. Okay. Build the one revenue stream that doesn't depend on a single app's algorithm. Okay. Visibility you own beats reach you rent. So I want you to have a bit of a think to yourself. When your favorite influencer, high profile celeb, whatever, endorses a product, what's your first thought? You're like, well, obviously you're paid to say good things about this brand. Okay. Very rarely, not always, there are some outliers to this. And I will give you an example that I can't remember the name of the bloody brand. It'll come to me, hopefully. Anyway, this brand, they're a skincare brand, and they found themselves going absolutely viral after Blue Eyed Kayla Jade posted completely organically. She purchased their product. She wasn't even actually talking about it. She wasn't referring to it. She literally was just using it in one of her famous Get Ready With Me videos. That brand has since gone absolutely nuts, right? And to the point now where they actually could afford to pay her to be as part of a brand shoot. Okay. Now, for a woman who gets paid the amount of money that she does, okay, in her, I don't think it's, well, FS, that's the PC term we have to say here. If you don't know what FS is, it's, you very likely do know FS. Anyway, she's an FS worker. So I know what she gets paid in her FS world because she's talked about it. And I also now work with OnlyFans creators. I understand the investment behind such things. Okay. So I would love to know, and whether, because she's just the best person, like she comes across so genuine, and all reports of anybody who know her just say that she's just the most down to earth chick in the world. So whether she gave them a bit of a discount to represent their brand, who knows? Okay. But when you know what she gets paid to do call outs to see guys and girls, you can imagine kind of the amounts that she would be looking for from a brand, when working with them, I suppose. Okay. So if you want to make extra money on the side, my advice to you is get a ring light, work out some cheat angles on your phone, find your best lit spot in your house, and that is it. there are so many apps that you can sign up to where you get sent products for free. And all you have to do, like sometimes you don't even have to post it on your actual feed about it. A lot of the times you don't. The brands just want your content. Okay. So if you hone in your skill, if you work hard, like I said, on the lighting, on the angles, on the whatever, you can get paid really well. All right. Not even having to post the content on your social media, which is so amazing. Okay. So if this is of interest of you to you, reach out to me. I'm happy to give you some information and some recommendations, but you need to think about how we, outside of the digital world, how we take recommendations for products. Okay. If I come up to you and I say, oh my God, I've like tried this and it does this, it's like the best thing ever. Naturally, whether you're conscious of it or not, I've endorsed the hell out of that product. And if you see it on the shelf, you're gonna be like, oh, that was the one that Megs was talking about. She said it was great. I'll give it a crack. Okay. Versus you see an ad online of a big influencer, a big creator, a celebrity, whatever, talking about it. And you're like, okay. Like it truly does not register anymore. And it is wild. So I forget which one Eva Longoria was endorsing. She was like a massive God, I can't remember. Anyway, it's not important. But I think I would love to see now the difference between what she is endorsing and the difference between what if they're working with UGC creators, like the difference in revenue that each are bringing in. So obviously this is not to downplay the impact that high end celebrities and influencers can have on brands, right? They're still a huge part of our culture and a huge part of people endorsing products to us. And again, whether we're conscious of it or not, we will take on their referrals if they say it more likely. And it's more just even hearing about it, I suppose, because if nobody's talking about it, nobody knows about it. So nobody can endorse it either way. Okay. So it's just something to be a little bit mindful of. But anyway, back to my original point. If you want to create money on the side, all you literally need is, like I said, a ring light, a good spot with good lighting, and coming up with some creative angles. You don't even have to talk. Like all of my UGC, I will talk in because I just find it easier to do so because I'm not one of these visually aesthetic people. Okay, that is not my forte, it's not my skill set. But I can work in a story talking about particular products. So, for example, working with a new brand at the moment. I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to talk about it. I better not, just in case. So they are a supplement brand, very, very, very well known supplement brand. And I got a deal with them purely because I was posting about them organically and tying their products into the narrative of my healing. So that's gone down well, obviously, with them. So now I get paid to do so. So it's really interesting and it's hard. Okay, so if you're doing what I'm doing and talking about the product and how it's changed things and how it positively affects your life, all right, you do have to be super genuine when you talk about that. Okay, it's really hard. Well, I mean, it's hard to fake it, but like I also like I don't feel good about that if I'm recommending something. Like I'm treating this like UGC content as if I recommend it, I would recommend it to a friend as well as a complete stranger. Okay. So I'm not that specific content. I'm not creating purely just to appeal to people to sell stuff so that I make money. My conscience does not allow that. Okay. My moral compass still points very north. So I like to share products. And I think as well, because I've been so open about my endo and about Crohn's and about the whole lot, that if you suffer with these diseases, or shouldn't say suffer, if you experience these, I've done the hard work and found ways that help, that aren't your sort of traditional ways of doing things. So yeah, it's a really booming industry right now. And it is so cool because what it's going to do is allow brands, like smaller brands, to be able to afford those bigger campaigns because you're utilizing the skill and talent of smaller creators to be able to then build you some epic stuff. And you'll have an epic bank of content that you can use in your marketing. So obviously reach more people and the whole lot. So I'm so here for it. for both ends of the stick, because I've been in a marketing brand or a marketing team for a brand where my marketing budget's, $100,000 for the quarter, say. So with that, these days, I can't really do much of a TV campaign. Maybe radio, mostly probably social media, maybe one influencer, you know what I mean? So we're like super limited in what we're doing, okay, which is not ideal when we're trying to grow and scale and do all the things, and have board members being like, well, you spend $100,000 of our money. What return are we getting? Okay. You have to explain all that stuff. So, rise of the UGC creators. I am so here for it. And if you need any advice, come my way, because this is just going to be cool. Okay. Love it. We've got one more song, and then we are going to talk about the dating recession and the rise of solo maxing, because, of course, I want to talk about that. Okay, enjoy my last little Liam song for you, and I'll see you guys back here in a sec.
And I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it, 'cause I do. A couple minutes out from relapsing into you, oh, fuck it. Baby, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it when we fight, and I like it when you mean. We don't have to get into what they said about me, I said it. Baby, I love it.
Love him. Okay. Just make sure my chat's open. Let's talk about the dating recession and the rise of solo maxing. So, the research and the reports are just wild. I cannot read. I can't just. You are not even ready for this. All right. So Gen Z is quietly quitting dating. They're calling it solo maxing, empowering choice, or oh wait, this is meant to be a question I'm asking. Empowering choice or lonely cope dressed up as self-care. All right. So let's talk about the stats. Reports describe a dating recession. Okay. Only around 30% of young adults are actively dating, and 1 in 3 feel confident in their dating skills. I think being confident in your dating skills versus having a healthy dating life are two very different things. Anyway, let's continue. Solo maxing is trending, reframing single life as a deliberate, calmer, cheaper lifestyle rather than a waiting room. So the average US date now runs about $189. Okay. Now, the forever happening discussion about who should pay for the first date, we're just going to leave that there because it's not important. All right, the honest counterweight. Research finds long-term involuntary singlehood is linked to declines in life satisfaction and rising loneliness, especially in the late 20s. It overlaps with the contested loneliness pandemic conversation, widely discussed, but commentators sharply disagree on causes and framing. All right. Here's my take on it. And you can disagree. Okay. Everyone has their opinions here. Choosing yourself is healthy. Okay. Hiding from connection and calling it choosing yourself is not. And only you know which one you're actually doing. Okay. So solo maxing is great if it's the season of life where you're like, you know what, I'm going to pour everything into myself. I'm going to fill up my own cup right now. That is what I am choosing to do with my time. Okay. It's a problem if it's really a fear of dating kind of disguised as self-care. And the test isn't like single occupied. It's am I moving toward a full life or away from a scary one? So we've all been, I'm sure, in the throes of a really scary dating experience. And when that happens, it's like, I'm never doing that again. Okay. I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. I can never trust anybody. And we also tend to take some of those previous hurts into new relationships as well. So I am all for having a solo part of your life where everything is just about you, and whether you choose to like date and sleep around in that, that's your business. But I mean, I was single for a very, very, very long time. So I look back at that now and I think to myself, was that intentional? Or was I just like busy with life and dating isn't going to get in my way of achieving my goals? And which I think is probably the latter. So I didn't consider myself to be lonely. I think other people around me considered me to be lonely. But I am in room fulls of people all the time. I talk to people all day, every day. Trust me, lonely is not a emotion that I feel. I love my alone time and I relish in the time I get to be on my own. And that is just my personality. I find that even the people close to me sort of like take away dating relationships as such. I really struggle to have time to hold, not have time, but the energy to hold space for those that I love after a full day at the races, for example. Or after a full day of work when I have, I have presented, I've talked, I've had to articulate myself, I've had to relationship build, I've probably had to crisis avert, I've all of these things. So I think that the reason why we're sort of like solo maxing is a thing, I think that there's probably two lenses to this. I think one is I am loving my single life and living my best life. I don't have to worry about anybody but myself. And look at me go, I'm absolutely flourishing, which is I'm all for, by the way, versus I can't be just like, I can't go through that again. I can't, I'm really lonely, but I'm sick of people asking me at family dinners, so when are you going to settle down? When are you going to, which I will attest, I get so frustrated when people ask me that. Like it really drives me crazy. And it's the same with the kid conversation too. And look, as someone who's just had a hysterectomy, I am glad that I'm never, ever, ever going to have to answer that question from somebody close to me again. And that, like, when am I going to have kids and when am I going to settle down? Like, when did having a kid and settling down become like the end goal in life? I have no interest in settling down. I actually want to do the opposite. I'm ready to go nuts. So, yeah, I think if I look at my friends and other people external to me in relationships, you can, I guess, have an opinion on whether some people are in relationships because it's easier and it's more comfortable and it's what is expected of you or what people think you should be doing, or it's a better financial decision, right? Like you can probably pick up what I'm putting down here. And being somebody that has been on the receiving end of being hit on by married dudes, I would imagine that it is a fair amount of people who are staying put purely because it's better for them financially, it's easier, it's whatever. However, I would love to see those people actually be single, because it is one thing to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't know that you're being a little bit of a sneak on the side. And it is quite another to decide that, you know what, this person isn't for me. I'm going to not hurt them and remove myself from this relationship and then spend time dating. Okay. It's like dating with the safety net when you're, gosh, when you're married. It's just shit. The whole thing just sucks. So if you're single right now, I would love for you to ask yourself, are you enjoying and maxing this time that you have to yourself right now where you don't have to worry about anybody but yourself? And obviously if you have children and whatever, it's different, but where you can spend more time figuring out who you are as a person, what you love in your life, what you expect in your next relationship. And I think that's the biggest key. And understanding that is huge. So versus, are you feeling lonely and then asking yourself why you potentially feel that way. Is it because you see everybody around you in relationships? Is it because you genuinely feel lonely? Is it because you're feeling a void? Is like, what is it? Because in this day and age, it's easier to be connected more so than anything. Like if you're feeling lonely, like all you have to do is jump on Tinder, and especially as a female, and then like watch a bunch of people drop into your like likes, whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. That is a way you can boost your ego. All right. You can get whatever it is out of your system. That is the loneliness part. And then continue to work on yourself. Okay. I love the premise of online dating because I just think it opens people up to so much, or like to more people than previously. Okay. So, previously we didn't have, obviously, the ability to connect with people that are across the other side of the country or the world, or like we would have to rely on going to places to meet people, or, having to be referred through friends to meet people, and things like that. So obviously we've got a lot more opportunity. But then also we have a lot more opportunity. So I think that it gives people who maybe aren't as happy in a situation the ability to be able to kind of see what's out there and test the waters a little bit and do the whole thing. So if you're in a relationship, I also want you to ask yourself, one, if you're considering things elsewhere, okay, that's a whole other thing. Maybe just like think about that a little bit. But also, do you feel lonely? And do you feel connected to your partner? And is this relationship something that is serving you and your long-term future? I.e., if you're not married, do you see yourself? And you know what? Actually, marriage isn't the goal either. Like, do you see yourself with this person, like when you're in your 70s and you're, walking around an old folks' home? Okay. I feel like that is the litmus test for me in thinking about this, is that is this a person that I could see myself, you know, when you've got nobody else around you and it's just the two of you all day, every day in your retirement. Okay. It'd be pretty easy to get sick of somebody. Um, and yeah, is that a person I could see in terms of the qualities that they've got? Like, is that what I could see? Because I have seen relationships, and I can think of literally one right now. And we've heard of this, right? Of like, either the husband or the wife passing, and then the other one passes not soon after because they don't know how to live outside of that. So, like, you can call that beautiful and you can call that love, or you can call that reliance, or the fact that people can't stand on their own 2 feet outside of that person and don't know themselves outside of that person. Okay. So it's a very different generation that we're dealing with now. I don't know how many of us are going to be doing that in our 80s, dying of a broken heart because, I just think it's a different time. So if you are in your single life right now, I want you to make sure you are pouring into yourself. You are having the best time. You are finding hobbies. You are going out and meeting people and doing all the things that you think might bring you joy, and just live it up. And also, I find that you probably might meet a person in that space, if we've got similar hobbies. Okay. But I just need to remind everybody that the test of a good life isn't having a kid and getting married. Okay. As someone who has done neither of those things, I'm pretty happy with my life. So, yeah, it's again the comparison thing. I think when you look at seemingly happy relationships on the outside, you're like, oh, I want this. Like, why can't I have this? But just remember, behind closed doors, things are always different. And they truly could be that happy and that in love and that, romantic and things like that. Or it could just be for the show. And I guess social media's got a lot to play in that side of things as well, because we love to share the dozen roses that were bought and the whatever, but we're not seeing the argument that had before that. So don't compare. Find your own version of happy and lean into that. Okay. Guys, thank you so much. We've had so many new people come in this morning. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to get to know you all. And we're streaming across a bunch of new platforms I see here. So welcome. Amazing. So nearly the end of another week. I've got some epic guests finally lined up now that I can have guests on here. Go and be grateful for some stuff today. All right. Go and make sure your cup is filled up. I love you, and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have the best day.